That means that the initializer, it is on ng init, initialize the maps. These are our functions that we are calling. So we pass the parameters, we set this value here, and then the map is loaded. So very first line, you see the maps and LL. This is the leaflet maps, and then we call the maps, and which is calling this maps attribute in the HTML page. If you look for this, the HTML page, this is our div elements maps, and that's all. So you implement your maps, and then you define the maps and the elements HTML components, call the component div component ID maps, and that's it works automatically. This is one of sort of the injection for the your header and footer, that's I said already. So you define the maps. It has a latitude, longitude, the central point, central location of the maps, and the central location means into the central location of here in the city. And it has a zoom in, zoom out functionality. This is the default map structure for the OpenStreetMaps. So sorry, presentation I didn't close it yet. And so we call it like the coordinate points. We have a tile layers. So we OpenStreetMap. Everybody knows this syntax. L, the tile layers, and then we pass the URL for the open layers, the tiling, and it has the maximum zoom level 19, and the attribute this hyperlinks, and then this works. That's why this is this maps the utile maps. If I change the tile map like this one, so I close the tile map, not this one, maybe you get the different impression of the WMS. So it has a WMS maps. So the wiki, you see that the different URL. So WMS has wiki media and MSI tile map PNG, everything same, but this is different map view. So let's see if we compile it. And I believe we can get it different map impression. You see the different maps. So it has a different colors and different lookout. If I go back to again, so if you get the colors and the different map servers, so we get the different map server, different data format, or I can different look of the data from the open layers. So if I go back again, and the older case, just I define it, I didn't use it, so comment out this one. So go back again. So it will automatically compile. You see the impression of the maps. So that means depending on your choice, which option you are trying to look for, this one, the base maps. I mean, this is the base map part. So we load the tile maps depending your geolocations with the center look point is located, and then your decision which tile map. Even though this case you can get the Google Maps. I believe you can take the Google Map or Yahoo Maps or Bitmaps, depending if is the Angular and TypeScript support or Node.js support other installations like Yahoo Maps. I believe it's supported. Google Maps, of course, it's supported. You can even use the combine the Google Maps and then OpenStreetMaps as the base maps. So that means here is our part of the application we started. We have iterations like that. I said this is only for the how you start the integrate all the layers. How can you call the leaflet libraries and build your base maps, and with the base map, how can you build your vector layers, your layers top of the base maps. But here is not real data. I can call it a simulated data. How can you program it? Different type of vectors. How can you add different type of vectors into the base layers? And then when you have a real implementation, as like the last one that I said, the real implementation is here. That means, and it's coming from the all data. What we are seeing, we are watching here, where we get it from here. We got it from here, and then it is coming from your in chart. What you build your application for your registration process. That means you register your applications, and its data is stored into the PostGIS database, and get this data into the GeoServer and build the services, call the services into your respective web pages, and then this data is coming here. That's the idea for this web application, web GIS. If you see the GeoServer is calling the all the information, the huge information is calling, because it is already commented, it is open. I call this GeoServer. Let's continue the other part of the applications. So when you try to build the points, like your POI, point of interest, to the maybe the point of the hotels, or your filling stations, or your gas stations, or parking stations, or electric car charging stations, then you need to be build your points locations. And how we can build your point location, if I go to the impression like that way, so I cut down because I did the development here. So let's see, we go to this, the impression, like to build the points, like some random points creations. Let omit the GeoServer calls. GeoServer calls, maybe we can go this part to omit it, because we don't need it at the moment. GeoServer, I will show you later, combine everything. So you see the points is how points is created. Just like I say, this is the simulated points. Like this is programmatically simulated points. This is a real points. You can build whatever. That means you build your points geometry. It's possible. So we define, we add the marker. This is like points marker, and you set it your coordinates, latitude, longitude, and this is my random generations. And then you give it the point ID and alert, and then you add to the maps. Very simple calls. So this is the iterations, means this is the reality. This is the call of the web service will be called here and iterate all the records into the backend server, and then you fill your coordinate points, what you need. Because the geo information, the coordinates points is stored into the backend server, you need to call the REST services and build the iterate through. For this case, I just give it to you. How can you build? How can you points geometry you can build, and you can make a top of this layer into the base layers from OpenStreetMap or Google Map, doesn't matter. But this is the programmatically. But reality, this is the data coming from the your REST services, or some other service or SOAP services, and iterate through the services, the complete objects, like your buildings registration objects and buildings registration object, floor registration object, or street registrations, or your floor registration object, and iterate through the object and build the all different type of objects if what you need, and then automatically build the seed in the maps. So let's see that, just like I'll give it to you impression how it look like. So I give you 1000 iterations, look through the iterations. So see how it is. Oops, oh my goodness. So this is the programmatically, but it's not logical, but it still is okay. Still okay, but I give it to you what I mean, what in the sense what I mean is your generation. This is all the coordinates points coming from your services, what you store into your database server, or what is stored in the PostGIS database, and you can iterate through this information. So you got the idea what I mean when you build it's possible to build the point geometry or marker, and then you iterate through the information via the REST services and build your web pages, and that works efficiently. That's what I mean. It's really perfectly works. And maybe 10 is enough, or maybe 100 is enough. Let's see how it's overloaded. It's automatically loaded. This is really optimum. So good, perfect. So what we did, we just define the LD marker as a pointer, and we set the latitude, longitude. We iterate through the how many record we try to build or visualize, but this record coming from your REST services, iterate through this one. This is the one of the most important one, add to the maps. So your layers, you need to be add to your add to the maps. That means you build your points and add to the maps, even though you can make it like constant markers, depending if you don't need it,